advanced the project. Yes, we are in the famous kitchens of the Scott Reed project, and we're having another go at it. What we're doing this time is we're going to do ourselves a summer fruits pie. What we've got there is cherries, blackberries and blackcurrants. We've got about a pound of cherries, a pound of blackberries and about half a pound of blackcurrants. And what we're going to do is we're going to stew those over later. All we've got here now, we're going to make a pastry first of all. So what we've got is 300 grams worth of plain flour, which we're going to knock into there. We're going to sieve it into a bowl. So obviously, let's get as much as we can in. We might have to use a bit more in a minute. But also with that, we're going to throw in our pinch of salt, which we shove that in there like that. And 2 tablespoons of icing sugar. We'll get that in there like that. Okay, we'll add the rest of that flour in a minute. We'll just sieve that out into the bowl, and we'll come back to you when we've done that. As you can see now, I've just diced my butter up into cubes, as you can see there, and that's getting ready to go in the food processor once we put the flour in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my flour into the food processor. You have to get your fingers in there a little bit so that it doesn't go everywhere. We're going to get that in there. That's got the icing sugar in there, the pinch of salt, and what we're going to do is we're going to add our butter to that as well, and we're going to whiz it. Doing is I'm just adding my chunks of butter now that we've diced up. We'll get that in and we'll whiz it. Making that breadcrumb mixture now. We've got most of our butter in there, but we didn't want to put too much in. We're just adding the last bits now. Let's get in there, and we're looking for that coarse breadcrumb mixture, and then we'll add the rest in a minute. 2 tablespoons of water that have been in the fridge for a bit, cooling down so they're nice and cold. You add that to that. 3 egg yolks in there, and we just give that a really good old whisk up. A good beat. Mix it all in there very well. Until it goes foamy on the top. Once it goes foamy on the top, you're more or less there. So that will do for that. Got that well mixed, just move that out of the way. And then what we're going to do then, we'll bring our mixer into shot for you so you can see what's going on. And we're going to just turn that on now. And we're just going to slowly add that, about 3 parts per time. So there's a bit going in there now, just let that mix in. And then we'll just come back to you after we've done the second and the third. So as you can see now, that's made a nice soft dough, that's what we're after. It looks strange, but it's about 30 degrees in England at the moment, and basically I've got my hands in some ice cold water. There's ice cubes in there as well, because the art of making pastry, the science of it is you've got to keep things cool. Hands nice very cold now, I'm just going to knead that now, just briefly. It doesn't have to be the same as like bread dough, just give it a bit of a run round, basically nice and soft. That'll do what we want it to do. We're going to cut that in half, we're going to wrap that in cling film, and then we're going to stick that in the fridge and leave it in there for about an hour. So just about half will do you, right down the middle. We're going to wrap that now and just turn that into a ball, and the other one, wrap it in cling film, leave it in the fridge for an hour, and then we'll come back to that after we've messed about with our fruit. Here again, we have a mate Scott. We've been out foraging with Wiley this morning. There's our pound of cherries in there, all pipped and ready to go. Put that out of the way. Our pound of blackcurrants that we've also got, that we went out and got this morning, freshly picked this morning in the Worcestershire countryside, and we had to travel miles for these. There's a half a pound of blackcurrants, about 6 foot into Scott's garden, that's where they were growing. What we're going to do is we're going to just stew those off. We're going to add our sugar, which we get in there, just right over the top like that. We're going to get our lemon juice, about a tablespoon in there, just over. We're just going to get all that in because there's only a little bit left in the bottle, and that will do us beautifully. That's all goes in, and then we're just going to grab our water. We've got a little bit of water there that we're just going to let it help along and stew off. You can see we don't actually want to stew this completely, you just want it to get to know each other. So we just get in there, trying not to mash it up too much, just folding it around, mixing it around a little bit so that all the fruits get to know each other. And we'll leave that on there for a few minutes, and then we'll just leave it to cool down. Back after our pastry being in the fridge for about an hour, we're just going to lightly flour our top like that so that it doesn't stick down. That should do it, what we need it for. Making a mess, as you do in the kitchen. Okay, so we've just got this out of the fridge now. It's been sat there for a good hour. We'll just whack that like that. Get our rolling pin. Roll it out, turn them over because he's sticking a little bit. Rolling out our pastry now, keeping that our rolling pin well floured. Just roll it out until we get the size that we want for our pastry dish, and then we'll roll that over to our pastry dish and fill our pastry dish in. Push that into the dish now. I've just pushed it into the sides, just moulding it in there, just moving around nice and lightly with your thumbs or your fingers, whichever way you want to do it, and that's your pie base sorted. My lid rolled out, ready to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to strain the juices off on the fruit, and then we're going to stick that into our pie base. Fruit out your dish there, just strain a bit of the juice off as it's coming out, and then just fill your pie base, and then we'll spread some juice over the top. Money shot in this dish, that is absolutely full of goodness. That's the pie. We're going to put the lid on that very shortly and shove it in the oven. Okay, as you can see, that's ready to go in the oven now. We've had that in the oven now for 20 minutes on gas mark 7, and then for about another 30-40 minutes on gas mark 4, just cooling it down a little bit. Spread a little bit of icing sugar over there, and as you can see, I mean, we've kept the juices out of that, but because it's freshly hand-picked this morning, the juices are that rife, it's come out the top, but we've freshly sprinkled some icing sugar on there, and that's our finished product. That's our finished product, freshly hand-picked, fresh summer fruits there for you. Cherries, blackberries, blackcurrants, nice pastry there. I've got to say a big shout out to my food scientist Scott Reed of the Scott Reed Project, who helped me pick and style the dish, and he's behind the camera today. Cheers, dude.
Right, let's have a go at this, Fran. It looks fantastic, mate. I mean, just halfway through with that liquor and just...
Result,
dude. That pastry, look at that pastry. Okay? Can you see that on the camera? Got him? Goodbye.